Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now, slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.
What's up, guys? How's it going? You know what night it is. Wednesday night, Off-Centered with Dustin, I should have named my YouTube channel anything else, but settled on Personal Finance Dad. And we have a very special guest. We have Donny B Collectibles, and this guy is a phenomenal artist. This guy makes true one-of-one cards. To be honest, I'd love to see his cards be the actual one-of-ones we see from Panini and Fanatics down the road. So we're going to go over what he's doing, his artwork, and where you could find him because he's going to be traveling for shows. So with that being said, welcome back. Now let's get to work. First of all, let's bring on our guest, and then we'll say hi to some of you guys in the comments section. There he is.
Cheers.
Cheers.
How are you?
Doing good, man. I upgraded to a reusable bottle instead of using the same disposable bottle for 3 weeks in a row.
Well, we're sponsored now. So now we have money for perks. All right.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't noticed, we signed a massive 7-figure contract with our sponsor, MySlabs. It's 7 figures if you included a decimal and several zeros after that. But we are thrilled because we couldn't have done it without you guys. And definitely want to thank Ken and the team over at MySlabs for offering this opportunity to us because we're both big believers in what they're doing. So kudos and toast to you guys, toast to MySlabs as well.
Cheers. I'm going shopping for gold chains tomorrow.
I'm going shopping for gold teeth. Like, what are the odds? We got to go to the same places. Anyway, let's say hi to some people. I know Corey couldn't make it based on the time, but thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Dude, I can't wait for playoffs as well, especially as a Bucks fan. It's a bit scary without Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin, but if one guy can do it, it'd be Tom Brady. Lucas Factor, good to see you as well. Go Bucks, absolutely. What's up, Mike C? Always in the house. Another Buck fan, Brian Sherland, is here. Prodigy card collector, what is up, my man? And then Steven Ryan. Ooh, he's an Eagles fan, so I don't know how I feel about that. Dustin, who are you going for, considering your Saints are out?
I don't really have any sort of favorite. I usually go for the underdog if I don't care, so if it's like a 1 seed versus a 5 or 6 seed or whatever, I'll go for the lower seed unless it's the Bucks. If the Bucks are that lower seed against the Packers, I'll pull for the Packers, even though I'm not really a Rodgers fan. That's a good question. I wouldn't mind just seeing it. Like, if I don't care, I like seeing a team come out of nowhere, like the Cardinals. Like, I don't really care. I'm not a Cardinals fan, but I'd like to see kind of a team that hasn't won it, and have them get there.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Bucks win. However, if they don't win, Kyler Murray, because I want to sell those prism-based Kyler Murray cards. Hopefully that'll go up. One thing we'll touch on later is I finally sold all of my Klay Thompson PSA 10 prism-based rookie cards, and I actually made a little profit on it, which is crazy in this market, but that's what happened. Phoenix Rising, good to see you as well. Brett S., good day. Let's see, Charles is in the house as well, always here. Man, it's so cool to see the same people every single week. I hope you're right. This will be a great show for sure. Let's start talking about a couple things though, because we have a lot to discuss. And yeah, I got.
We got to catch up. Well, yeah, we have to catch up on your latest video controversy. You kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. Not really. I had a little bit of an idea, but kind of, I guess, break that down. What are you thinking, and why are you living on a street corner now?
Hey, man, this is an upgrade. If we had to compare backgrounds without looking at the rest of the house, my place might actually look on par with yours. But okay, so look, as the year was running
first off, before you start, actually, I was kind of surprised at the reactions and the comments because it wasn't like you weren't saying that you were completely getting out of it. You were just kind of, throwing you, and I think it got misconstrued a little bit. But anyway, I'll let you talk.
Sure, sure. First of all, this was the same shirt I wore, and look, it's actually on the correct way. But this is it's a very comfortable shirt, and so the last two videos, which I shot at the same time, I had it on backwards, and I had no idea because the fit was so comfortable that I couldn't tell, in terms of feel. And so I watched the video, and I go, oh man, the tag is right here. But anyway, so I recorded a couple videos leading up until the holidays, and usually that's how I do videos because it's easier to batch than to do one by one. And so I've been thinking, man, it's a lot of time towards this, and I'm feeling more disconnected than ever before, because when you have, your partner in another country and you're not talking to her, you're not seeing her, your friends are all isolating themselves from each other and from you. When this is the only connection you have, then this is great, right? And this is awesome right here, but videos are very, like isolating because you're not actually interacting with anyone. You're just, you're creating it, you're writing a script, you're doing a lot of editing. Like I do a lot of editing, and it became very lonely. So I'm like, I don't want to be doing these videos anymore. But what I love doing are these live streams. I love seeing people in the comment section. And I also want to see people more face to face and via video like this. And so the big thing I wanted to do was say, look, I got to go back to my coaching business and really put more time and effort there, because that's fulfilling, while doing the videos was fun, but not really fulfilling. And so now what can I do that is both fun and fulfilling? That's why this is going to be here. The podcast project with Sim, who's the podcast producer here in LA, is going to be fun and hopefully fulfilling as well. And we got a couple people from that video that actually are in LA or are good at video editing and audio editing that actually reached out. And so we'll be talking to them this week. So it'd be really cool to get a couple of you guys involved in this project, and it is paid, which is nice. And then at the end of it, it's really my biggest passion. If you guys didn't see the video, then watch it after this. My biggest passion ever since I was a kid is just improvement in myself, physical health, mental health, spiritual connection. That's why I have all these books back here. There's Jay Shetty, there's Russell Brand somewhere. But that's my life. Like that's what I would put ahead of cards all day long. And I've been involved in men's groups for several years, and I wanted to throw it out there. And one thing I will say before we go back to cards is that I'm so excited that we have about 20 people that expressed interest in joining me for one of these men's groups that I'll launch probably first week of February, last week of January. And it's only going to be 6 guys. I've said 6 guys total. We'll see who's serious and what goals they want to accomplish, but nothing would be more fulfilling than to create groups, make it an income stream, because I don't have the bandwidth to do this for free, but I want to offer so much value that someone is like, man, that was well worth it. That was a better investment than any card I could have ever bought. So very excited about that direction, but I'm not going to strand you because I don't know what you would do on your own.
Look, fine. You don't have to keep pitching. I'll sign up as one of the 6 guys. I'll do the damn thing. Whatever.
I'm going to charge you more.
Yeah. Wait, how much did you guys pay? I paid triple that. What the hell?
Absolutely. So, yeah, man, not leaving you. I'm really excited to do more of this stuff. What's your week like?
Wild week. I mean, but honestly, dude, I've got 4 kids and a dog here and a wife. I'm busy. But between work, videos, Logan Paul's going to drop tomorrow, whether his case of Pokemon cards is fake or not. I already have my reaction videos made, and so I'll just release the second that we know. No, I'm just kidding. I was actually joking with Carlos from Because I'm Carlos YouTube channel about that. I'm just going to have both. I'm going to have reaction videos already ready, at the ready. And then as a complete, really to screw with people, I'm going to put out both reactions. So people are like, wait, is it real? Is it fake? Is it real? Yeah.
Dude, you know how it's like companies create the Super Bowl winner shirts that's like Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, and then they're like they're kids in like third world countries that end up wearing Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champions 2020 or I guess 2021.
Yeah,
that's gonna be you.
Yeah, Tom Brady can beat the Saints in the regular season shirts, those ones.
TJ, I mean, I'm still waiting on the Hinge sponsorship. There's a reason I mention Hinge every single time, because I know there are a lot of single guys out there, and Hinge is just on point here in Southern California.
The end goal for this channel is to have a card sponsor like we do. MySlabs is awesome, but we want to have Hinge and then also Manscaped as bookends.
And then Chipotle would be cool too. I would take Chipotle for sure. Yeah,
and then toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Yeah, well, that goes hand in hand. I mean, that sounds weird. Loco Card Collector. Yeah, you're not alone. When I wrote the video, it was very much like, let me go on this long tangent, but it wasn't really structured to say, by the way, guys, I'm not leaving. This is what I'm doing. I'm not going to focus on buying and selling and investing. I want to focus on the brand side and what's fun. And the more I do that, the more I can actually buy. But right now, the cards I want to buy are a lot of money, and I'd rather invest that in myself and in my brand to then make more income to then buy whatever cards I want. Okay, so what else we got?
What are we moving on to next? You had a list.
Laugh of the week. So one thing, guys, real quick, we wanted to get you more involved in the show. And so ways to shout you guys out. Dustin and I were thinking, hey, what if we do like a little funny story of the week, funny meme of the week, something that you guys can submit to Dustin's email. In fact, what is your email?
thepersonalfinancedad@gmail.com.
thepersonalfinancedad@gmail.com. And this is going to be the laugh of the week. Let's see, guys. Let me share the screen here.
I found this little ditty.
Yeah, here we go. All right, this is, can you see that okay?
Andrew Luck. This is what I picture Brad in real time on an actual date. When the check comes. When the check comes. This is Brad's
Andrew looks like he lives in the middle of nowhere and traps beavers for a living. I mean, whoever wrote that is spot on. But I got to say this. I've noticed athletes, and I think Evan Longoria was the first athlete I noticed who would purposely have some horrible hairstyle. I think he had a mullet. And I think it's one of those things where you're like, I'm such a baller in my life. I'm worth a lot of money. I was a quarterback. I am a quarterback, or I'm a top baseball player, that I can get away with whatever I want. It just doesn't matter. I'm still going to get whatever girl. Is that accurate?
I suppose he's looking lean. He's looking lean. Well, it's amazing too. Who is the one guy? Joe Thomas for the Browns. Have you seen that guy? He's so like massive, like one of the best linemen ever, maybe. Joe Thomas. He just retired a couple of years ago, but now he's jacked. But this guy was like, he's an O lineman, so he's carrying extra weight because he needs to for the position, and now he's just ripped. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, guys, moral of the story: we want to feature the funniest contents in the hobby or in sports, but definitely the hobby. I know Lamine James is phenomenal at that. We might share his stuff too. But anything you find that you think is really worthy, don't flood Dustin's email, but if you just think of, man, this is good, send it to thepersonalfinancedad@gmail.com. And what's the subject?
Oh, funny meme. Yeah, you could just like funny meme or meme of the week or something like that.
Yeah, meme of the week. Let's go meme of the week. Send it, and we'd love to shout you out. Other things. Let's see. I found out that Vegas Dave or one of his people actually commented on my Flipping is Dead video. So I want to actually show that because I just found out that was the case. And so here it is. And this was on the Flipping Sports Cards Died in 2021. Here's why. And I got, because the GOAT predicted it, and I responded like Derek Carr for MVP, which is something he also predicted, but thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, you got Vegas Dave watching your stuff. Interesting.
Or at least one of his people, just to throw that on there, just to make him look right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know about him being right. Okay, ready to bring on our guest?
Let's do it. Yeah, Donnie's like falling asleep back there. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. We basically heckled Donnie to come on early just so the audio and visuals would be ready. And then we're like, great, now that you're here, just chill out for the next 15 minutes. Let's bring him on. Donnie, what's up, man?
Boom, boom, fellas. Nice of you to have me on, man.
Absolutely.
As I was saying, man, always fun to talk hobby, especially to someone that has a podcast called Outside the Wax. I have a podcast with Outside the Wax with my boy Card Killer and Peter Pac-Man, and we divulge all of the artistic sides of the hobby, rather than the insider tip, if you will, on what's trending. And so really it's real personable, and people kind of feel like they're in the room with us, which is always fun. But just an audio podcast for the moment. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
For sure. And real
Absolutely.
quick before we get in, what I want to do is I want to actually share your stuff, your Instagram right here, because if you're not familiar with what Donnie's doing, this is what I wish one of ones were. This is what I wish rare cards looked like, because a lot of times these rare cards, if they're not autographed or have a jersey on it, it's just like a different colored border. And you're like, couldn't you just go in the printer and then like adjust something? And just because it's scarce, it's worth so much more. But it's not like there's diamonds on it or it's 3-dimensional or anything like that. So this is what we're talking about. And I think this is going to be the next phase of sports cards, because like some of this stuff is just insane. Like check out this Kobe Bryant right here. Look at this. Like 3-dimensional. That is artwork.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I agree with you, Brad. That should be, the card company should hire you guys to do like their really amazing stuff, like the case hit or whatever, or the one of ones.
Yeah. And well, the cool thing is that I don't even think about what grade is this going to get if it's graded. It doesn't matter, because it is a one of one, and it just looks so amazing. I wouldn't even want to put a slab on it necessarily, because the slab would probably distract from the actual card.
Yeah, the two I saw today, and the Little Mac, that one, I'm like, I almost spent a bunch of money on your site today. I'm like, holy smokes. I've been there before, but I hadn't been there a little bit. But I love that Little Mac, and I love the Simpsons Ken Griffey Jr. It was up a little bit, Brad.
Where is it?
It's up a little bit more. That one.
Oh, yeah.
That's so awesome.
So, and this is actually not that expensive. For $200, I mean, you can get a lot of cards that aren't really cool, or you can get something like that. So first of all, what got you started in this? Because it's such a unique thing that you're doing that, I'd love to hear where it originated from.
Right on, man. Well, it's a trip, because when I started chopping up cards, there really wasn't many card artists. There was less than as many people I could count on one hand. And there was definitely no one with a significant following, if you will. But I saw this dude, Card Killer, shout out Card Killer with a K. And I came across his page the first week that I started an Instagram account. Man, a flooding in the comments. I love it, man. I love the support, guys. Came across this dude, Card Killer's account. He had 12 followers. I had maybe 200, something like that. And at first he was really just kind of trolling, and from what I could tell, just chopping up nice refractors and almost in like an evil, demonic way. But really, what he was doing is chopping up all the colors and throwing them on full-size pieces of art. And it wasn't, but a couple of months later until he started reusing the chopped refractor pieces inside of the card, just making a one-of-one card. And it got my attention real quick. Not only was it, super visually appealing, he really tackled the nostalgic side of it, because he was bringing in characters from Super Mario. And I mean, if you don't got, love for Super Mario, I mean, you didn't live through that era, like simple as that. Because if you did, you got a little bit of love for it. Even if you didn't play it all the time, someone that did. And even if you don't love it, it's something that you could get for someone that would. And so right away, I seen marketability beyond belief. And I noticed that he wasn't really moving them. He wasn't really getting the appreciation that I thought he deserved. And I connected with him, and I offered to, that's a collaboration with Optimus Volts, man. Shout out to Optimus Volts. He does the Day of the Dead style stuff. but yeah, man, I offered my platform to run auctions for my buddy Card Killer, and right away, the first auction we did sold for double of what he was even asking for his pieces to begin with. And 2 weeks later, we run another one. It does even better. And then a couple weeks later, we run another one. We ran a real special Luka Doncic card. It was a rated rookie optic, and it was like $100 card at the time, alone, and he chopped it up, and we ended up auctioning it off, and it sold for $1,125, and half of that went to a charity because it was on Pride weekend, so we donated half to a charity that dealt with those causes.
That
Uh,
Hummer card is insane.
Yeah,
that
and,
was,
and look, honestly, we don't have guests on that. Usually, there's so much to look at visually, so that's why I'm pulling up your Instagram so people can really get the full effect of how incredible and how much time and effort you put into this, and just that it's out there. Because I didn't even know this was out there until I saw your page. There was one comment though about how Fanatics or Panini or whoever, if they were to do it, it would have to be a redemption, and absolutely correct. But I definitely see that as something that they should look into in the future if they want these one of ones to actually be something special. So go on. Dustin.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Redemptions would change the game, and there's so many artists that make significant pieces, and I know with them doing a project like Topps Project 2020 or Project 70, a lot of that has to do with influencership and being able to push whatever project they're doing. Look at that. We got Bo Jackson, the two most iconic junk era cards, not only for Bo Jackson, but in my mind, two of the most iconic junk era cards ever. And then I put the front on the back. But
has anyone from Fanatics, Panini, Topps, someone contacted you yet about like just maybe being one of the designers or just wanting to speak to you further? Because I don't know why a company wouldn't at this point, but just wondering if you've been in contact.
Man, I wish that I could tell you that I have. I wish that I could tell you that they've been hitting me up and whatnot. But I don't know, man. It's almost turned into like an underground movement that has, surfaced to the above ground, in my opinion. It's turned into something that's kind of undeniable. With not only am I making cool stuff, you got a bunch of people making cool stuff, but you have people like me that have proven sales records. I mean, I have been making card art for probably just over a year and a half, and I have for sure made and sold over 200, I would say probably 200 cards, 200 card art pieces. And yeah, and it's funny because looking back on it, there's, probably the first 15 pieces I'm embarrassed to even look at, but it's all part of the process. And, there might come a time where having an early piece of mine will be looked at as a cool thing, whether it's, beautiful or not, really.
Well,
Was there other pieces of like art that got you into this? Like, were you doing something similar to this that kind of that made it an easy transition, or was it just something that you practiced and got good at?
So I was really connected in the hobby. I loved mainly buying and collecting cards, and then I seen it as kind of having money in the bank. I mean, I got back into the hobby about 5.5 years ago after quite a bit of hardship, and that was one of the first things that I clung to when I got my life together was buying and collecting autographs, jerseys, all sorts of stuff. And it slowly became more of a hobby thing because you fellas know, when you're collecting signed jerseys and signed posters and signed 8x10s, that takes up a lot of space, right? Mm-hmm. So when you want to collect autographs of your favorite players and people you look up to, it made the most sense to do it in the form of cards. And I mean, and it's funny because of course I made cool card art. Not many people would know that I'm actually, a solid collector myself. I got a cool Randy Moss auto relic that I picked up recently, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's all about nostalgia, whether it's sports related or not. And I've made quite a bit of Marvel related pieces with, Wolverine, Spider-Man, um, Venom, stuff like that. And I've made Ninja Turtle stuff. I've made a lot of wrestling pieces. I mean, I think you gentlemen are of about the right age to have remembered like the prime of wrestling. And I mean, like Hulkmania was the real deal to people like us,
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. One thing you said, you didn't want people to see your earliest work, or you might be embarrassed. I still can't watch Dustin's videos, and he's like 4,000 in. So I mean, don't feel bad about your earlier work. And the other thing too is these cards are so interesting, they're so innovative that it makes me kind of jaded towards looking at a lot of other cards, because if there's not a third dimensional element to it, I'm kind of bored. When I look at the Homer Simpson and I go, man, this is just phenomenal. Like, this is
I love that. I love
the three dimension is incredible.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's funny, the Homer in specific, I made two of, and they both sold within a day or two. Ironically, that Venom right there is something that is still available, and in my eyes, that's something, because I make pieces half for the customer and half for me. Like, that Venom is something that I would love to own. So it kind of blows my mind that someone hasn't bought it. That Ricky is something that has sold. I've made probably 7 or 8 Ricky Henderson pieces. Super, super nostalgic when it comes to Ricky Henderson, for sure.
Donnie, real quick, how long does it take you to make one of these cards, start to finish?
Man, so I would say at this point, I've nailed it down to about 3.5, 4 hours at the most. A lot of it comes through conceptualizing and visualizing, the placement of where you're going to put things. And that one was actually made specifically for a Robert Downey Jr. autograph signing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like after it's all signed up.
Wow.
This makes me not want to buy a single normal card and only buy your cards. Like, you're talking about cards as display pieces. This is like, who would not want to display this? What girl, what person not in the hobby wouldn't walk up to that and go, holy crap, where'd you get this from? What is this?
Man, yeah. I agree, man. I like, number one rule is I try to make stuff that I wouldn't say blows my mind, but I try to make stuff that impresses me, stuff that I think is cool. That is one that I think is really cool, man. I'm surprised that one hasn't sold, to be honest with you.
It's gonna sell by the end of this show. That's gonna be our goal. And when you get hired by Fanatics, I want to be your recruiter that negotiates your rate, because I want to make sure you get paid a ton.
Dude, holler at your boy, man. I got 5% with your name on it for sure.
All right, that sounds good. Then I'll just have to make sure you get like a solid $500K or more a year.
Let's go, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So I want to show you, gentlemen, this one in particular. This is one that I made of the character, from The Sandlot.
Oh, that's funny.
And I caught his attention, man. I made a little TikTok video, and what's his name? Patrick Reyna, the dude that played Hambino, he sent this to Marty York, the actor that played and hit me up within like 10 minutes, and he was like, dude, post that on your story and tag me so I could repost it. And I'm like, why don't you just give me your address and I'll send it to you? And so he gave me his address. I gave it to him, and I asked him, I'm like, well, if I made another one, would you sign it for me? He's like, yeah, man, without a doubt. So this is a pretty unique piece, man. A signed, one of one.
That's awesome.
Amazing. I was just gonna say real quick, I think this is what I would, I'd consider this if you're into it. I got into that show Cobra Kai, which is like the, the following, 20 years later or whatever of the Karate Kid, and I bet there'd be some pretty sweet cards from Karate Kid or even the new Cobra Kai series that if you contacted the actors who aren't A-listers, but they're probably have a decent following, and you make something like that, I'm telling you, you have the potential and the skills to go viral on your own because you're actually bringing something really unique and beautiful to the space. So anyone you would make that of, I don't know who wouldn't share it. Go on, Dustin.
Question. Yeah, Donnie, what if somebody has a sentimental card that maybe it's not in great shape and they just kind of have it, but it's something from their childhood and maybe it's worth $1 or something, or whatever it is. But do you take cards like that and make them for the person, instead of, just, having to buy one that you've already made? Can someone send you a card to have built?
So I do commissions. I have about a month turnaround. I have probably, I'd say between 7 and 10 people on my list at this time. I mean, I try to, I'm able, like I said, I make a piece in about 3.5, 4 hours. So I can make a piece in a day relatively, you know what I'm saying? Even though I also work at a comedy club serving tables, but, there's always time, whether it's after work, before work. I mean, if I'm working at a comedy club, I don't even start work until 5 or 6 p.m. So there's a lot of downtime. And I feel in life, man, a lot of people waste downtime. I mean, you gentlemen sounds like you have, wife and kids and all that. Probably downtime is something that you don't have a lot of. And it sounds like you gentlemen use it very wisely, though. You're putting shows together. You're making moves, whether it's buying, selling, or telling people how you're buying and selling. So I definitely commend that. Like I said, I see a lot of people waste time, and there are artists that spend their time making digital art cards or digital cards and then make prints of them. I just really get a kick out of making one-of-a-kind pieces that, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like the truest of collectors, what do you want? You want something that stands out, something that stands out to you, that is super cool, that someone else can't get, something that money can't buy. That's why people like one-of-ones in general. And you nailed it before, because there are plenty of people. I mean, I might get love now, but it's been 1.5 years. And when I started, there was a couple people doing it, and there's been a lot of haters along the way that don't necessarily agree with chopping up these sacred cards. But I mean, for me, it strictly started out as chopping up old junk era wax that I wanted to put a value on. Yeah, look at that. That's that Donny B one-of-one.
Well, you're enhancing these cards. You're not you're not burning them. It's like you're adding to the card.
Yeah, there's a difference between taking a card, ripping it up, throwing it away, or burning it, or something like that. That's disrespectful. You're repurposing something that you own to enhance it, and they, like, even if it's a rare card, I understand if you're a collector and you don't like it, but then buy it, be the highest bidder and buy it. But what you're doing, I believe, is way better than what the card originally looks like in every single case. And so I know you said you're a server. Where are you in the country?
Man, I live in San Francisco, California, and I serve at Cobb's Comedy Club. It's actually the biggest stand-up comedy club in the city of San Francisco.
Awesome, man. Fellow Californian, and San Francisco is one of the few cities even more expensive than LA. So I know you gotta bust your ass there just to pay rent and to get by, because really, really expensive city.
Michael Ham mentions something about how we should have you show us a hat. Do you have any custom hats?
You know what? I don't do custom hats. My buddy Card Killer does custom hats.
Oh, okay. Michael must have got mixed up.
Yeah, I think he does them for like $1,000. They're the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. He like how I take the refractor pieces and make like mosaic style with it. He does it around the whole hat.
Wow.
Well, real quick, because as we're talking about how we can get these cards and all the different things, and yeah, do celebrity cards, I would love that. You do like again, I kind of go off on this, but you do a Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you do Ryan Reynolds, Matthew McConaughey, you do cards of guys that I'm like, I've followed you for 20 years. You're like someone I love in this show, this movie, whatever. That to me, I think is an opportunity in the hobby overall, but also for you. I want you to be doing this full time for my own selfish reasons. Like, you know what I mean? I want you to be doing this full time for all of our selfish reasons so you can pump out more cards because this stuff's great. But if you want to see Donny, where are you going to be next? You're actually going to be popping up at some shows, right?
Yeah, man. I am going to be doing my first vending as an art card dealer at a show in Fresno, California. And that's going to be on January 22nd and 23rd. I'm getting a booth with my buddy Sharkbait Customs, who is another super talented artist in the game, and he actually helped get the foot in the door at this particular show with card art, and he had a pretty successful showing the last time around, and he invited me to share a booth with him. So we're getting like a double elongated booth, and we're just gonna rep card art and see what happens. And like I said, I'm also a collector in the game as well. So I'll bring a few normal cards along with me.
Boring cards.
Yeah,
It
for some
doesn't
of these,
pop out at me. What the hell?
yeah, my collection's changed now. After I seen these cards, I'm like, man, my cards suck. I'm gonna get rid of all these. My regular cards.
It really is a trip. I've had a pretty decent platform for a while, whether it's been 10,000 followers or 20,000. Now it's above 30,000. But when card art first started, even before I started making my own pieces, people would send them to me just for exposure. I'd post them and they'd get more followers, yada yada. And then I started studying them, and it wasn't long after that first off that I started making the cards, but also I wanted to collect normal cards less and less and find other artists that are making super cool pieces that just speak more to my my nostalgic part of my brain or whatever. That kind of overtook my collecting for a while, and now I'm some weirdo that has like 200 card art pieces of other artists.
Would you be able to describe, like, if I pull up a card, like from beginning to end, the process? Like, what are you doing at the very beginning? Are you grabbing like 3 cards, or are you just grabbing one? Like, Judson over here, good to see you, Judson. I would like to know, and that's definitely a great question because I would have no clue where to even begin. You ever do anything like that, Dustin?
What?
So,
Anything creative? Ever?
What'd you say?
You ever do anything creative?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is about as creative as it gets for me.
Wow. Okay. Well, that says it all.
My early work.
So a little front to back. So I would take a card. First I try to find a good border, and then I try to find a solid image that represents something that invokes emotion, whether it's something characteristic of that player or that villain, whatever it is, something that, I mean, for instance, here's Spider-Man. When you think Spider-Man, you think of him shooting out his web, right? Yeah. So I would take and find a nice border, cut it out, even though this is, not a Spider-Man border, just for example, and then take my image, and then this image is already pre-glitterized, if you will. I actually take glitter paper, and it's the funniest thing, man. This is probably some of the most hate that I received. People see that glitter paper and they just got all kinds of things to say. You know, like, oh, my 7-year-old daughter makes cooler art than that. Yeah, all sorts of stuff, man.
I don't know what it's like to receive negative feedback, so I can't relate at all.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Props. I respect that. That's what's up.
Just kidding.
So
he's not used to getting positive feedback. He's like, what, a compliment? I don't know how to deal with it.
A tear rolls down my eye.
So I take glitter paper and then I will adhere the image to that glitter paper, and then I will recut out. It's all through my Instagram. Thanks for asking. Just shoot me a DM and we'll get to talking. But yeah, I take and basically recut out the image completely a second time. So it kind of like puts double the pressure on messing up, you know. But in my opinion, it really kind of adds more of a complete feel to it, in my opinion. Stop smiling.
All right, real quick, the thought I had, I was like, you know what we should do? Me and Dustin should do a parody video where we try to recreate one of your pieces, and it's just like a disaster. It's just like the most horrible piece of artwork ever.
Well, you know what? You know, it's funny, man. I mean, I have a decent amount of people that are viewing in on what I got going on, and I've had a lot of haters turned imitators. You know, people they almost are upset that they didn't come up with it first, and they think that, oh, it must be, you know, super easy. And one of two things happen when people get that outlook, and sometimes they try to make card art of their own, and they either find out how difficult it is and have a newfound respect of what we do, or they're super artistically gifted, and we got another card artist in the scene. You know. But I mean, when it started out, that, like I said, there was 5 or less card artists, and I can confidently say there's well over 100 that I know of personally, probably closer to 200 at this point.
Well, you're probably popular in that world because you embrace all the other artists as opposed to, you know, compete against them. You know, it sounds to me like you're kind of the guy bringing it all together as opposed to my stuff's the best. Suck it, you know, like how Brad would.
Yeah, man. I agree with that, man. I try to be a mentor as often as possible. I mean, I don't have time to have a super unique one-on-one connection with everybody that hits me up, but there are a lot of people that I'm able to give, you know, little snippets of advice. But I mean, the best advice I could give is be someone that, you know, people have positive connotation of your name when your name gets brought up, because there are plenty of people that when you bring up their name, the first thing you think of is something negative. And if you can avoid being one of those people, no way, Mr. Smiles, no way.
Yeah.
Evil smile.
You got two beautiful smiles. Could never be.
Oh man.
You know,
One piece are weirdly too white though. Like I'm concerned about how much whitening you're using. Anyway, go ahead.
I got a ring light here. Everything is like actually yellow. But what, dude? Before you go on, just because this thought is in my head, I just want to throw it out there for either of you, just for opinion. I would love to see Donny at the national, not only display, but doing a workshop where people can actually bring in cards that they would like to repurpose into something special for them. Maybe it's junk wax, maybe it's whatever card. And then you kind of have this workshop, or you kind of have this class where it's 30 people in there, and maybe you charge $50 a person or something. It's something you can make money on, but people are going to leave knowing how to do this with their own cards, at least to a degree. And you're going to have a lot of fun teaching them. And so that was just an idea that popped in my head. I'd love to see stuff like that happen, because it's also another way for artists who typically like might struggle with consistent income selling artwork to actually build something that could feed you and can help you continue this journey.
Yeah, I dig that, man. And one similar idea that I've had is doing almost the exact same thing at Major League games, almost for almost in terms of like childcare or what do you call like
Daycare.
Yeah, like daycare almost. But I mean, how many people go? Maybe they got tickets to the game or they want to go to a game, but you got the kids, and but it is uniquely a horrible time to do that, being that COVID exists, and I probably wouldn't want my kids with a group of people that I don't know. So it kind of halts a unique idea like that. I have been in contact with Ray. His last name slips my mind. Yes,
Yeah.
Everyone knows Ray, freaking legend. I have been in contact with Ray, and I mean, we followed each other for a very long time, and we got a chance to meet at the National this last year. Ray Schulte, for those of you who don't know, runs the National every year. And I do plan on following up with him on, at the very least, getting some stage time at the National, and doing a little speaking, and potentially doing a live podcast with Card Killer and Peter Pac-Man. But as far as a workshop goes, that would be awesome, man. And if you want to run that for me, dude, I'll cut you in, man. I got 5% for you for sure.
I'll be honest, man. It's not really worth it for 5%, but I will shout it out to everyone else. And I will say, Ray's a really nice guy. I was going to say right here on this video, or on this post, Ray was one of the guys that had liked this, so I pulled that up. Very nice guy. He's the one that invited me to speak at the Industry Summit. I think you'd be a great guest for Industry Summit based on what you're doing and how this is, I believe, going to change the hobby long term, because right now it's very early in, but the more people see stuff like this, the more that in my opinion, our standards for what a beautiful card is and what a rare card is and should be and what a collector would want, I think goes up and up the more creative stuff we see versus just a two-dimensional card with a black border instead of a blue border or whatever else.
Well, that kind of plays into the card market now is our art. When you think about like this generation and the younger generations, when you hear people say that, but these cards are actually, like art, like they're a lot more enhanced than what you would normally see. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I'll go back.
Yeah, you've got some range. There's a lot of different like it's not just like one type of card. You've got the glitter things, you've got other stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on.
So I would love to speak on this card that's up there right now. Like I said, I work at a comedy club, and one thing that I started collecting early on while I was working at the comedy club was Allen and Ginter cards of comedians. And whenever we'd get a comedian that had an Allen and Ginter card, I would get it signed, and I'd get super excited about it. And next thing you know, there's super big comedians that come through that I'm a big fan of that don't have an Allen and Ginter card. So I started basically commissioning, Topps caliber artists, literally artists that work for Topps, to make my own cards. And that was one of them, of comedian Andrew Santino, as well as Theo Vaughn. But I mean, I have probably 30 or 40 different comedian autographs. And I mean, for a long time before the pandemic happened, that was kind of how I wanted to make my nut, if you will.
We don't talk like that here.
Talking in terms of squirrels, they love nuts. It's but I wanted to make a set of comedian cards, specifically all not one of ones, but all original art, and make prints of them and have like 10 or 12 different comedians. And then I mean, I could go into detail, but then the pandemic happened, and I really, half the time I thought the world was coming to an end, and the other half the time I thought there's no way this is going to last that long. So I started selling off a lot of my collection, and that was not. I mean, there comes a time where, uh, it's all outgoing and not there's not a fluctuation of incoming and outgoing, and then you start looking at your collection and there's just patches missing of it, and it was time to come up with a new idea. And being that I loved cards so much, and I was already exposed to uh, card art and ways to make money with card art, because I was helping the few card artists that existed. I was helping them make revenue on it before I was even making card art. So I'm like, I could probably throw my hat in the ring and become a member of this game that I've already been helping create. And with that, uh, became the birth of the Sports Card Art Gallery, which is another Instagram page that I run with my buddy Card Killer, and that is, showcasing all different card artists. And for the last, couple months, we've been doing auctions for different card artists. Yeah, look at that, man! Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's epic. I love the ropes too. This one and Ultimate Warrior, where you have the ropes. Dude, I feel like I'm stepping into either a TV or just a moment versus looking at something static. I think that's the thing that's kind of tripping me out, is like, I go, wow, this is like, if I was on some sort of hallucinogens, it would be game over. But
this is what I feel like this is what an NFT would look like if you were holding it.
Right? Yeah. Dude, I am the physical NFT.
That's it.
That's an oxymoron.
It's the fungible, non-fungible token, or whatever the hell. Who knows?
Yeah, that one was a commission piece right there. That one was a piece I made for my buddy's kid. I've made probably 3 or 4 Iron Man pieces, but yeah, it's funny with the wrestling pieces. One thing that sticks out to you and me and other people is the ropes, and that 3D aspect, like you're either watching TV or almost jumping into the freaking TV. And I think a big factor besides the rope that there's a lot of things that I like about this piece in particular. I really like the floral background. That was during a phase of mine where like all my backgrounds were floral, and a lot of them were that specific floral. It was almost like a specific marketing thing. And obviously I felt like it really worked with the image, but that border makes it feel like a TV, in specific. And that was from like such a unique card that, for most of my collecting, I didn't even know existed. It was like a knockoff version of Garbage Pail Kids. I think it was called like the Donruss All Stars of 1989 or something. And I just felt, that's the same border. I felt like it really added a different element that kind of created a vibe of a TV,
Oh, it does. Yeah, it adds like this natural vignette. Like if you edit a photo and you do a vignette where it kind of, it basically draws your attention to the middle. It kind of removes any distraction from outside the card or outside that area and makes it very much focused. And I mean, like I look at this and this is just popping out to me. This is like a moment in time that instead of trying to get into that moment of time, it's right there in front of me. I'm a part of it. It's incredible.
Yeah, one thing I got to tell you, man, those cuts are not easy. Because, go back to those wrestling cards. When you look at that image, that was literally a card. Like, cutting out those ropes, cutting out in between his arms, in between those chair legs. Like, those are some of the most detailed cuts that I've ever made. And I've probably been through like 7 of those cards in total. I've made it 3 or 4 different times for different customers, but I also have ruined 3 of them because those cuts are intense. And
What are you cutting with? Like, I mean, you have a very fine razor. What's it called? Like a scalpel like thing?
yeah, I mean, I use an X-Acto blade, and I also have like a very small pair of scissors that I will use sometimes. But for closing, that's just a penny Hardaway rookie refractor.
I
That's
was
just
gonna say, yeah.
I love what you did with this. Oh, wait. The quality was just that bad back then. You don't have to be creative with the colors. They just
that's art in its own right to me, man. The original refractor set.
Yeah, I remember that. And Penny was my player. He was actually one of my favorite players as a Magic fan. I remember that set. I think the following year, Finest did a better job. This year was more like, let's try out this new technology and see how it goes. But I would say your cards are way more put together than what this is, because this is like, all right, we have this 3-dimensional beautiful card like what you make. Let's just combine it into 1 dimension and see what happens. And to me, it's kind of ugly, but what you do is way better in my opinion.
Dude, I appreciate that, man. If you fellas want to make my screen full screen, I'd love to show you a piece that I created and finished probably 15 minutes before we hopped on together, just to have an exclusive piece to show you guys.
There it is.
For the first time, no one has seen it. Kind of hard to get it, but
It's perfect. That's it. I don't even like baseball, but I want that card.
That is awesome.
Beautiful. And how much are you selling that one for?
This one will be 200.
200. So if you could do this full time, Donnie, would you do it full time?
I would. There is one thing about the comedy club that keeps me coming back. I really love getting cards signed by these comedians, man. I really enjoy that. But in a perfect world, I would probably give the comedy club maybe like 1 day a week availability and do this. I mean, if I were to do it full time, I'd have to probably either raise my prices or figure something else out. Because right now with what I got going on, I could probably get by just off what I'm doing, but it would be, it it definitely would not be living lavish. But I do see a future where I feel like, I'll turn this into a career. Whether it be, I want to say a career in the hobby, not necessarily as a premier card artist. I mean, once a week I run auctions on my page for other card artists. Like there are many different avenues that I have, kind of circulating at the moment. So yeah, I mean, with how much you gentlemen love the hobby, I'm sure. I mean, do you guys have careers outside of the hobby?
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like what you're saying, go on.
I was just gonna say, I mean, for people that love the hobby as much as you gentlemen do, I mean, in a perfect world, I'm sure you would love to turn the hobby into a career path, right?
It's finding the thing in the hobby. And the way I see it is there's way more doors opening within the hobby in terms of a card artist or being a host of a show or an interview or a lot of different things. There's people, affiliate revenue, content creation. There's a lot of different ways. And what's cool is that now you might be making good part-time income doing this, but where the hobby's going overall with Fanatics, with their big vision, with all that, like you could be one of Fanatics' licensed artists that they pay for you to do 200 pieces of work per year and they pay you really well because that's a one of one or something like that. And I see that big vision for you, other artists, as well as myself and Dustin, and because I know that there are bigger things coming down the pipeline.
That would be really cool in their high-end products too. I mean, or even in their low and mid-end products. If you had something like what you make thrown in the mix, in there, maybe you make, I don't know, 300 or 400, like Brad said, but that would take a lot of time. I mean, to make a few hundred of them, but maybe that's what's going into like one of their main products or whatever. And yeah, that would be like pulling like, what the hell is this? And maybe they're all distinct. They're all different. I mean, that would be cool.
So one thing that could be done is Fanatics. All right, this is going to be a call out. Fanatics or Panini, but I'm thinking Fanatics has the vision going forward. I don't know if Panini would want to get involved. I would love for them to get involved. However, they give you autographed pieces. They give you pieces of a jersey, and now they can pay you more because that one of one is now so desirable that even the raw card is a $4,000 card. Right? Instead of it being common cards or maybe silver parallels or whatever else, now it's something where they say, here's the memorabilia to add to it. Now we could pay you this amount. Your name is now has a very good reputation in the hobby where you're not charging 150 or 200 per card. Now just to get a piece of artwork from you because you're such a household name in your world that it's $500 per piece or more than that. So, I mean, I got a big vision for us. I got a big vision for you as well, because what you're doing is special and people love it, obviously. But I think more and more people are just going to learn about what you're doing, learn about these other artists as well, and really, buy in and really request it from Fanatics.
Yeah, I agree, man. And, I mean, I don't want to say money talks, but for the right price, 200 cards a year could for sure be done. But also, I have built up my reputation, like you said. I'm trying not to get too distracted by all these comments coming up, but I'm seeing a lot of familiar names in here. And someone jokingly said, I'm the mayor of Card Artsville.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, I take pride in that role. Some people might not agree with that title, or some people do, but either way, I try to foster the talent as best I can, and I try to keep a good not only keep a good reputation, but try to convince others to keep a good reputation as well. And watching all these people rise together, it's a special thing. And being someone that is revered in a positive light, like that's all I want. And as far as having my art in packs, that would be awesome. I'd really enjoy that. But I think it would be awesome to be the one in charge of picking out other artists that would be featured in different packs as well, because I have been I probably no one's been exposed to more card artists than me.
Dude, a rising tide lifts all ships. So guys, if you're not already following Donny, definitely Donny B Collectibles on Instagram. That's where you can see his cards. You can follow him. Maybe tag Fanatics or Panini in some comments just to bring extra attention to them. And I love what you're doing with sharing the wealth with the other artists, because there's a lot of space for growth.
Hey, real quick, go back to that Griffey.
Crap, what I do. How do I work this thing?
No.
Hold on. It's okay.
Hey, either way, that Griffey that you just pulled up, that was done by Sharkbait Custom, and that is who I'll be sharing a booth with in Fresno in a couple of weeks. That card right there.
Awesome. Very cool. Dustin, any final words? I know it's been over an hour, and we like to wrap it up so that people tomorrow and the next day can watch it, and it's pretty digestible. But what are your final takes?
No, I mean, it's amazing. Thanks, Donny, for coming on. Really appreciate it. You bring kind of a unique, perspective to the hobby, and offer a really cool product. So I'm excited to see you out in Atlantic City. If you're going to be there at the National, I assume you will be. Oh, that's a cool LaMelo.
Yeah, I'll be there, brother. I'll be there.
Yeah, so hoping to catch up with you out there, and I'm excited for what you've got going on. It's awesome.
Yeah. And Donnie, I'm going to be your agent. I'm going to get you a fat contract with Fanatics, and I'll get my little sliver, but it's going to be you making a whole boatload of money doing something amazing for the hobby. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, the better you make it, the better I'll make it for you. How about that?
Deal. It sounds like a win-win. So looking forward to meeting you at some show, maybe Mint Collective in a couple months, if not the National. But thanks again for coming on. Love the stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Until next time, man, I look forward to seeing you guys at the National and Mint Collective.
Absolutely, man. See ya.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys later. Thanks so much for hopping on, and make sure to follow or watch Donnie's stuff. I'm actually going to play this ad one more time as we head out. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.
Tired of paying 10%, 15%, or more to sell your cards, comics, and digital collectibles? How does 1% sound? Too good to be true? Well, not anymore. MySlabs.com is the web's premier user-driven marketplace for buying and selling slabbed cards, sealed wax, and now slabbed comics and digital collectibles. So the next time you're forced to pay 10% or more to sell something from your collection, head over to MySlabs.com and join the 1% revolution.